speaking of your health, how are you? How are you physically? How do you feel? And is your condition at all impacting your ability to play?
Not at all. My ability to play is as strong as it ever was. I think you could tell from my record. My mind is perfectly normal. I how when you're not very old, but I'm an old guy, and I still feel like my brain says you're only 19. You know how that works, and it's like, no, there's nothing wrong with my memory. There's nothing wrong with anything except for, I have AS, and that stuff gets to be pretty painful when you have to travel and the intensity of that, get on this flight and fly here 13 hours and then get up and play and do this and then go. It gets to be pretty much of a beating. And you already know, you've been out there with it. When you were a little kid. I still got photos of you with Motley.
Oh, I got a photo with you when you guys were opening for Ozzy, which is classic. And I was a kid. Yeah, that's when I first started 40 years ago. So I'm not young, Mick, by any stretch. I got my aches and pains too, but it's nothing compared to what you deal with. And, you touched on earlier if you were able to do live shows. Now, I know the idea of large scale touring is probably going to be difficult for you, but is there a side to you that would like to put a band together and hopes to go out, even if it's a local date there in Nashville, and actually go up and play this stuff live? Is that a goal for you?
I'm a little bit, I would like to, I've said before that I would do if somebody really, really wanted to see, this live kind of a performance as a one night, and then it's like, or a residency for, 3 or 4 nights or whatever, something like that, I could probably do that pretty easily. But as far as flying and traveling and all that stuff, oh, no, that's way behind, But that kind of thing I could do. Flying to Europe and flying to Japan and then flying to Australia and doing this and going through crowds and going to blah, 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 becomes a beating, even on a youngster.
How hard was the stadium tour for you, given all of that? And did you kind of go into that somewhat reluctantly, given, Motley made such a big deal about the contract and never coming back and doing this? Was that a tough thing for you on a few fronts to go through? Or were you, after you kind of got out there, were you all down with it?
When I first heard about it, it was like an interesting thing, to do a stadium tour, and it started off to be only 10, right? And so, okay, but it kept adding and adding and adding and adding, and that's cool too. So I just got a bus, and I just stayed in that all the time. You know how it is, like on tour here. It's like, you got a 2-day drive, okay, better than being on a plane. I got everything right here. So it wasn't that bad on that one. But, it is what it is, and I did what I needed to do. And that was that.